What is going on, guys? We are gathered here today to join my top 5 sports games in holy gaming matrimony. we were tagged by the Woodbarion Retro Game Hunter. What are my top 5 sports games? Now, I'm a big sports fan, so when I was a kid, we played a ton of sports, and we played a ton of sports games. So I've got my top 5 sitting right here, but I wanted to go through some games that didn't make the cut, but are really good sports games, and you should definitely check them out. Now, it's kind of interesting because what qualifies to me as a sport in my youth may not qualify to somebody else as a sport in their youth. So like when I was a kid, we didn't have the X Games. We didn't have action sports, like Tony Hawk or 1080 snowboarding. That wasn't like a real sport back then. It wasn't like a thing, you know what I mean? We basically had the big four and some European sports, and maybe an oddball sport here and there. So, yeah. So I left action sports off this list intentionally. I left fighting type games off this list intentionally, like UFC games. Mixed martial arts is a sport, but I just left that off. Any type of character licensed like sports game, like Mario Golf, Mario Tennis. All fantastic games. Did not put them on there on this list. And wrestling games. Wrestling is a sport, at least in my opinion. It says right in the name of it, it's sports entertainment. So left all that off. And then I left sort of like the parlor games off. Like billiards, which I love billiards. Darts, I'm a big darts person. You could say poker is a sport, or professional card players, those are athletes. And racing games. So basically, I just left it to the bigger mainstream sports. I know it sounds like I cut off like 95% of, all sports games, but that's just me personally. That's not part of the tag or anything like that. So let's just get right into it for the Game Boy. I love these 3 games. Golf. There's my championship copy that I had when I was a kid. The whole label's peeling off. Love golf. Hours into that one. Baseball. And probably didn't expect this one coming from me. Top Rank Tennis. Actually a pretty easy game to learn how to play, but not a very easy game to kind of learn how to master, especially when you start moving up the rankings. Alright, so again, these games didn't actually make the list, but I just wanted to show them to you. We've got Double Dribble for the NES. Love Double Dribble. NFL Quarterback Club for the Super Nintendo. This one, I think, I'm pretty sure, has the skills challenge, so you can be like Warren Moon or Randall Cunningham. I know there's some old school names like Steve Young, and do the skills competition where you throw the ball at targets and run an obstacle course, that kind of stuff. I know I talked about this one before. Frank Thomas, Big Hurt Baseball. Now there was a Ken Griffey Jr. game, on the Super Nintendo, which we also loved, but Frank Thomas, Big Hurt Baseball had a really awesome home run derby mode, so most of the time we would just play the home run derby. It's more of a modern sports game. I was reminded of this on my live stream, or else I would have forgot it. Wii Sports. I think everybody that games has probably played Wii Sports at some point or another. The Wii Motion Controller, although there's some faults to it, it really works well with those type of sports games, like the bowling and stuff. All right. This one actually didn't make the list, believe it or not. Tecmo Bowl for the NES. Now, there's a couple different Tecmo Bowl games, but this is the one that I grew up with. You got Bo Jackson, obviously, and when we weren't allowed to pick the Raiders, we made that a rule eventually. Sometimes I would pick the Browns so I could have Ozzie Newsome and have his speed, or I'd take the Kansas City Chiefs, and we would have Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare at running back. So he's a very strong guy. Bust a lot of tackles. And then the last game I want to talk about is EA Sports Tiger Woods PGA Tour 2003. I got this game actually on the PlayStation 2. And the reason I got this game, I think it's a perfect match between a simulation and an arcade, kind of more cartoony style golf game with the leveling up and the characters and stuff like that. And this was the first Tiger Woods game to have St. Andrews. So, the ancient and royal St. Andrews. All right, guys, those are the games I just wanted to show you. Let's get into our top 5 sports games of all time. All right, making its way to number 5 on the list. I've talked about this game before. Never really got a chance to give it the publicity that it deserves, but it's Champions World Class Soccer for the Super Nintendo. Now, what's awesome about this game, it was made by Acclaim. You get your choice between 32 international teams. You can select sort of like the difficulty and the length of the half. But we love playing this game, and that was a very influential time for me as a kid when it comes to sports. I always liked international soccer. And, the '90 World Cup was in Italy. I think I was like 12, and then we had the 1992 Olympics, which was in Barcelona. Even though the main focus here in the United States in '92 was the Dream Team, but there was international soccer at the 92 Summer Games in Barcelona. And then, of course, in 1994, when I went to high school, that was my first year of high school, the World Cup was here in the United States, and it was just crazy if you were a soccer fan. I love soccer. I love soccer games. I know that this game isn't as polished as some of like the newer FIFA games, but this is definitely a fun game to play. It's dirt cheap. You should definitely buy it, and that's why it earns a spot on this list. All right. Number 4 on my top 5 sports games of all time. This game should actually be in everybody's collection right here. NBA Jam. All right, so NBA Jam is a 2-on-2 over-the-top arcade basketball game. I think there was like 28 teams in the NBA at the time, but you could pick any of the teams that were in the league at the time, and it was just over the top. We used to play this game forever. We'd sit in the basement with the kids in the neighborhood, and we'd have like little tournaments, NBA Jam tournaments, where we would only play like a half of a game, and then that was one full game, so we could make it go faster, so we could get more tournaments in. Game is absolutely amazing. Like I said, over the top arcade fun. I don't really know what you can say about NBA Jam that hasn't already been said. They're still making games for NBA Jam to this day. So, yeah, very deserving of the number 4 spot, NBA Jam for the Super Nintendo. All right, number 3 on my top 5 sports games of all time comes to us via the Nintendo Entertainment System, and that game is ice hockey. One of the really cool things about ice hockey is that, you could select all the international teams, which was really cool at the time. But you could select between like 3 different player types, and each of the different player types, skinny, medium, and fat guys, they all have like little different attributes. They skate faster, or, they can power through people, or, shoot the puck harder and all that kind of stuff. I like how you could like hold down on the button and, you'd shoot the puck harder or pass the puck faster. But very, very awesome arcade type game here. again, it's another one of those games that you don't really know what to say about it. It's just a classic. Super cheap game. Definitely add it to the collection. It's fun to play 2-player. And yeah, it's really, really awesome. That's why it's number 3. All right, guys, coming in at the top 2 spot, number 2. I know I've talked about this game before on my channel. Shouldn't really be any surprise. NCAA College Football 2005.
We're at the Horseshoe, Ohio Stadium, here in the capital city of Columbus, as they get set to host this exciting football contest. Tonight we'll see how this freezing weather affects the Michigan Wolverines and the Buckeyes of Ohio State. And here come the Buckeyes. You can feel the electricity in this stadium. Hey folks, Brad Nessler, Lee Corso, and Kirk Herbstreit here, and it doesn't get any bigger than Michigan, Ohio State as far as rivalries go.
It allows them to have a shot at getting the first points on the board.
The crowd really making it difficult. Gets the ball. No, they faked it. Got it. Tackle. What a catch, and that's going to give them a first down.
Well, that's a big play for the offense, but I think the defense needs to play a little bit tighter in the secondary.
It's 1st and 10. They're threatening inside the 20. They line up in the red zone for the first time today. Here's the give. The big guy with room to run. And he's tackled. And a pickup of about 7. On the 12, and they can smell the goal line. Number 30 is the single setback. On the ground is the tailback. Touchdown, Ohio State. A powerful run by the halfback to reach Pater.
Yeah, he's hot. Keep giving him the rock.
I love college football. I actually want to get a college football 2013 or 2014 for my PlayStation 3, but picked up this game. And what's funny, I have like newer editions, right? Like 2006, 2007, 2008, all that kind of stuff for the PlayStation 2. But I put in a save file, I started to play it, and then I just never wanted to stop playing this one. So I always play as this one. I actually got bored playing as Ohio State. So like during the off season, other teams can offer you the job, you know, as a head coach. And I took the Virginia Tech job. And just to kind of give you some kind of perspective on how much I play this, this is NCAA College Football 2005. I just won the 2026 National Championship. So we've played like 20 seasons of that game right there. So undefeated, mind you. So, all right. Number 1 spot on the list. My favorite sports game of all time. We used to play this game. I loved it. RBI Baseball for the NES. We never had the officially licensed cartridge. We had the Tengen cartridge, the Atari cartridge on Nintendo. Excuse me. And yeah. Another thing too, I was talking about, we didn't have action sports when we were a kid. We didn't have mixed martial arts or skateboarding or anything like that. But one of and you guys that lived through this era know what I'm talking about. You would get sports games that would have the teams but not the players, or would have the players' names and then have to change the name of the teams, because at that time, video games maybe weren't taken as seriously as they are now, where, there's millions of dollars at stake, and, the companies and the manufacturers and the publishers and the players' unions, and the teams and the organizations and the leagues now all get together to make these games. But back in these days, they didn't. So you can see that this game is endorsed by the Major League Baseball Players Association, so you can get the players' names, like Don Mattingly and Lenny Dykstra and all them players from back in the 80s, but you don't get the team names like the Yankees and the Red Sox and stuff like that. So love this game. Like I said, we spent hours playing it. I love its arcadey type feel. It's simple controls, and yeah, definitely a fun game. Well worth the buy if you're looking to add a fun sports game that you can play, not only as a one-player game, but, a co-op or play against somebody. That game typically moves a little fast, too, so you're not spending all day playing a sports game. So, guys, that is my top 5 sports games of all time. All time. All right, so we want to thank the Woodbarion Retro Game Hunter for tagging us. Very cool. Nice walk down memory lane with all these awesome sports games. And definitely check out his channel. Link is in the description down below. It does pickup videos, tag videos, all that kind of stuff. So make sure you check him out. So in these tag videos, to keep the chain going, we tag 3 other people. The first person I'm going to tag is Tight White, because I know Tight White played sports, and I know he's athletic because I've seen him dunk like this. That's how he dunks, and he gets all crazy eyes. So I know he's played some sports, and I know he's played some sports games. So Tight White, what are your top 5 sports games of all time? Next person I'm going to tag, I know this guy is a sports fan. I'm going to tag Josh from Creep Lead, all the way in Canada. Baseball, hockey, a little bit of everything. So Josh, Creep Lead, what are your top 5 sports games of all time? And then the last person I'm going to tag is a guy that tagged me in the last tag video, Emceemer, down in the Georgia. I know he's a Falcons fan and a Atlanta Hawks fan, so I know he's got some really great sports games in his collection. So Emceemer, what are your top 5 sports games of all time? Guys, the links to those channels, like I said, are in the description down below. And as always, I challenge you to check out at least 2 of those channels. Thank you guys so much for watching. What are your favorite sports games? Leave your answer in the comment section down below, and we will see you guys on the next one.